Let's talk about what you're going to need. First of all, we have the hand press to make the pellet, and then you're going to need, it's called the bottom anvil, the top anvil, and 2 collars. You're also going to need a mortar and pestle, 2 spatulas, some potassium bromide or KBr, and whatever sample you're taking an IR of. So the first thing you want to do is make your KBr pellet for background. You're going to take the lower anvil, place the collar on top, and then measure out some potassium bromide with our handy calibrated Eppendorf tube. Right there, so it's about at the line. And then you're going to take your potassium bromide and pour it right in. Next, you want to take your top anvil, put it on, and place it in the hand press. Just like that. Okay. So I can't quite close the press, so what I'm going to do is turn the top counterclockwise a little bit until I can close it easily all the way. And then you want to set the press aside for about 30 seconds to allow the pellet to be compressed. So after about 30 seconds, you're going to place your hand over the opening of the press and open it on up, and it'll just roll right out into your hand. I'm going to take the top and bottom anvil off. And there you have it. Once you have your KBr pellet, you want to make your sample pellet. So this one is a little bit different. First you want to take a very, very small amount of your sample. About that much. And grind it in your mortar and pestle. Okay. Then you want to take your KBr, fill up your little Eppendorf tube to the line again. And you want to pour that into the mortar and pestle. It's very important that you do not grind your sample once the KBr has been put into the mortar and pestle. Instead, you want to take your spatula and just mix it up a little bit. Until you have, now it's a nice homogeneous mixture. So you want to once again take your lower anvil, place the collar on top of it, and then scrape your sample into the collar. If you tap it gently onto the countertop, that helps make the pellet nice and level. Okay, you want to place your top anvil and then go ahead and put it in the press again. No, that was way too easy to squeeze, so this time I'm going to turn the top clockwise. Great. You want to wait about another 30 seconds and then take your pellet out. Great. That should probably be good. We'll see. Okay, so after your 30 seconds is up, you want to place your hand over the opening again, open the press, and take off your upper and lower anvil. And you have another beautiful KBr pellet. Once your IR spectra has been taken, now you want to clean up. So to get rid of your KBR pellet, you want to take it over the acetone wash and just stab a spatula through it to get all of the whole pellet out. Then you want to rinse it off with acetone, so that way it's nice and clean when the next person needs to use it. Great. And you want to do that for everything you've used today. So you want to take the mortar and pestle, rinse that out, and also wipe it out with a paper towel. And both of the anvils that you used. Okay. Once you're done, make sure you close the acetone wash, and the last thing you want to do is return your potassium bromide to the desiccator. So let's talk about some common problems that you might encounter when making your KBR pellet. First is that sometimes you'll see there are some brown flecks in there that are rust. This happens because some of our anvils are quite old and they're a little rusty. To fix that problem, you have to remake your pellet, unfortunately, but this time you should rinse all of the top and bottom anvil in acetone before making your pellet. Another common problem is that your pellet is way too cloudy. You can see, compared to the ones we made previously, this is super white and you can't see through it at all. So this usually happens because you put way too much sample in. So unfortunately, once again, you have to remake your pellet. The third problem that's commonly encountered is when there's a hole in your pellet. So if you look at this pellet right here, you can see there's a hole happening in there. And now that usually happens because you didn't put enough sample into the collar, or you didn't make sure that it was evenly placed in the collar. So sorry, once again, you have to remake it, but those are your 3 commonly encountered problems when making KBR pellet. To make a liquid sample, you'll need a PE card, a pipette, your sample, and some acetone. First, what you want to do is choose one side of the PE card and wash it off with the acetone. You'll see as you put acetone onto the card, it turns clear. So what you want to do is wait until it gets a little cloudy again before you put your sample on. Okay, once it turns cloudy again, you're going to go put it in the machine to take a background spectrum. To put your sample card in the machine, you just slide it right into the slot. You want to put the side that you just washed with acetone down. After you take your background scans, you want to take your card out and come over and put your sample on it. So on the same side of the card, you want to take 1 drop of your sample and use a Q-tip to spread it around. So you can see the window got clear again because we have some sample on there. So now you want to take it and put it back into the machine. And then take your scans. Once you're done, you want to take your card out of the machine and come back over and wash it off with acetone again. Okay. After you rinse it off with acetone, you just want to let it dry and then put it back in the box. And that's it.